Welcome back, Broncos, to another episode of the Poly Podcast. This is the official podcast of the Poly Post, a newspaper ran by students for students. I'm, of course, your co-host, Nick Talamante, and joining me, as always, is
Andy Foreman. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us again.
Andy. How you doing, brother?
I think I said this on the last episode, as well as we can. How are you?
Same, echoing that sentiment, especially after Tuesday. I'm maybe a little less doing well, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think we're all still both figuratively and literally hungover from that debate.
Emphasis on the literally hungover.
Yes, yeah, it's like a fever dream that just never ends.
You know what? At least it was fun in the first half. Before it was a little too much for me. It was at least fun in the first half. I'll say that. A few drinks in, I was having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't laugh at it, you're gonna cry at it. So
Exactly. You
Yeah,
might as well laugh. You might as well enjoy
yeah,
yourself.
you got to pick one or the other.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I mean, we've basically already previewed it, but as you can tell, folks, the main theme of this episode is going to be all about the 2020 election. With the election day, I believe only 34 days out. The November election is coming up quick, folks. So to get ready for that and prepare all the Broncos out there, we're going to be talking about everything involved in the election, how to register to vote, how to vote. We have an amazing interview with the staff right here at the Poly Post, Blanca Gonzalez, who did a great piece on how CBP is preparing for the election. We're going to be talking about the ballot measures and all the different propositions and who's supporting it. But yeah, Andy, we got a lot on our plate today.
We should just jump right into it then, because our first segment is all about how to register and vote in California. So let's do it.
Absolutely. Let's jump right in. With the election only 34 days away, it's important that everyone participates in our democracy, not just for the presidency, but more importantly in your local elections, because that's where politics has a real immediate effect on your life. But before any of that, you have to know how to vote, and how to register, and where to go. So in case you don't know, we're here to explain to you how you can do all that, and it's that way you can be all set for November, Broncos.
In terms of how to register, California offers voter registration online, by mail, and in person. Online voter registration, it's available at registertovote.california.gov. You can also request and complete a paper voter registration form, and you can mail that or hand deliver it to your county elections officials to register. And if you're registering online or in person, there's some things you'll need. First off, you'll need your California driver's license or California ID card. Second off, you'll need the last four digits of your social security number. And third, you'll just need your date of birth. Your information is provided to the DMV, and you can retrieve a copy of your DMV signature. If you don't have a California driver's license or California ID card, you can still use this form to apply to register to vote. You'll just need to take a few additional steps to complete your voter registration. You can register online to vote until Monday, October 19th, 2020.
So some other important registration deadlines and things to consider is that if you're registering or re-registering less than 15 days before the election, you're going to need to fill out the same day voter registration process and request your ballot in person at the county elections office or whatever polling location you're using. So for more information on voter registration and voting locations, contact your local county election officials. So some other key deadlines and dates to remember is that registration deadlines for online ends on October 19th. For by mail, you need to have it postmarked by October 19th, and for in person, it's going to be on November 3rd. The absentee ballot deadlines for requesting your ballot is going to be on October 27th. For returning by mail, it needs to be postmarked by November 3rd, and for returning in person, it needs to be by November 3rd by 8 p.m. when most polling places close. So for early voting begins October 5th and ends on November 2nd, but dates and hours may vary based on where you live. If you want to vote on election day or register on election day, you're going to have to go through a process called the conditional voter registration. So the conditional voter registration is a safety net for Californians who miss the deadline to register to vote or update their voter registration information. Voters can use a conditional voter registration process from the day after the deadline all the way through election day. Eligible citizens can go through the county election office, polling place, or vote center to register and vote conditionally. These ballots will be processed once the county election office has completed the voter registration verification process.
How to vote. Election day is Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, and all of California's registered voters will be mailed a ballot no less than 29 days prior to Election day. Early voting and in person voting locations, they're also going to be available to voters. If you want to vote in person on Election day, all registered voters in California will receive a ballot by mail. However, in person voting locations will still be available to voters. You can find them online at the Secretary of State's My Voter Status tool. If you'd like to vote early in California, you can do that before Election day. The early voting period runs from Monday, October 5th, 2020 to Monday, November 2nd, 2020, but the dates and hours may vary based on where you live. The early voting and vote by mail drop-off locations, they also can be found on the Secretary of State's early voting website. What to bring? If you voted in California before, you don't need to show your ID. But if you're a first-time voter who's registered by mail and didn't include your driver's license number or a California ID number or the last four digits of your social security number on your registration, you may be asked to provide ID. There are a few acceptable forms, including a copy of a recent utility bill, the sample ballot booklet you received from your county election official's office, or another document sent to you by a government agency. You can also have a US passport, a driver's license, official state ID card, or even your Bronco ID. Voters without ID, if you can't provide ID, you'll be able to vote with a provisional ballot.
So if you want to vote by mail, you want to make sure you fill out your ballot. After you have voted, insert your ballot in the envelope provided, making sure you completed all the required information on the envelope. You may return your voted ballot by mail, in person, or at a drop box. If you're returning your ballot by mail, it must be postmarked on or before Election day and received by your county election office no later than 17 days after the election. If you're returning your ballot in person or dropping it at a drop box, it must be delivered no later than the close of polls, which is around 8 p.m. on November 3rd. Anyone may return your ballot for you, as long as they don't get paid on a per ballot basis. In order for your ballot to be counted, you must fill out the authorization section found on the outside of your ballot envelope. And with that, Broncos, that is how you register to vote. And now you know how to vote. So hopefully everybody takes advantage of that. We're going to have all the resources in the description. Again, we encourage everyone to register and vote. So make sure you go to registertovote.california.gov. That way you can check your registration status. You can go through everything we talked about here today and make sure you're ready for the election on November 3rd.
And with that, we're going to transition into our interview with Blanca Gonzalez, where she's going to talk about some of the election fairs that are on campus and some of the ways to get involved with the political discourse on campus, even though we're shut down. So stay tuned for that, Broncos.
Absolutely. And with that, Broncos, we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you so much again for spending time with me and Andy. I know this is the meaty episode. We're going to try to break it up for you guys, but hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you go out there and register to vote. Hopefully you bring your friends and family to join you. And with that, we're going to catch you on the next episode. Be sure to check out all those links. Follow me and Andy on Twitter, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.